school. It's time now for the school report. Today we welcome Mike Beighley to the studio, the superintendent of the Whitehall School District, brought to you by Poppy Bus Service. The school report starts right now.
That is right. The school report does start now, and my guest today is Mr. Beighley. How are you today, sir?
Well, how are you anything but great on a day like today?
Oh, I know.
Exactly.
Like I said, I'm ready to sneak out the door. It's just too beautiful out there right now.
It is nice out.
And we're winding down and getting closer to the end of the school season, aren't we?
We are. We finish up next Wednesday with our kiddos and get them out for the summer. And, we graduation last week. That was successful. I think, anytime you get through the weekend safe, that's always the big thing. And,
yeah.
And, our spring sports, we still have track and field moving on. We have a golfer moving on to the sectional. Baseball took a tough one last night. So, but all in all, things are wrapping up well.
Yeah, that is great. And, any special announcements for graduation for the kids or anyone you want to recognize?
Well, we have kindergarten graduation today. That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But no, I think our graduation always goes well. I think the things that we're trying to do for kids now and give them a real advantage, for lack of a better way to say it, a real advantage going into the future and how complex that's going to be, and in the fact that we can start to help them understand the questions that they have to ask.
Yeah.
Not so much have the answers for them, because I don't know that there are answers for a lot of questions right now, but I think if we can start to really work with them, and that's something we talked about a little bit as part of the ceremonies, reminding the adults as well. This isn't just the kids. We all have to hold ourselves to the same standards of adding value and perpetual growth and continuous improvement, all the things. So, no, I think our we've had another successful year. I think we've had, the stuff that we're doing with and for kids is phenomenal. We've gotten some great results from our pilots now. We've gotten the full year data in what we're doing with the structural change piece. It's easy to look at that and say that it's technology, right? Or that a platform fixes everything. And I think what we're finding is exactly what we expected. It's just the contrary. The technology gives you the efficiencies to let the human teacher focus on the human development of the kids and build a learning culture and build a network, build an opportunity for kids to really engage. But, we're seeing growth 3, 4, 5 times national expected growth.
Wow.
Across the board for all kids. That's something that we can't look, lightly upon. I think that's a big deal. So I think it's been valuable to see where that's going, and so many of our folks have jumped in and really made themselves uncomfortable.
Yep.
And I think, so as you look at reflecting on a year, like we always do this time of year, right? Graduation, high school graduation is a great opportunity. We've had our 5th grade awards day yesterday. We get kindergarten graduation today. Those types of things are all opportunities to reflect.
Yeah.
And it's been a big year. It's been an exhausting year for a lot of our folks. It's been some tremendous leadership opportunities. Our folks have really stepped up and couldn't be more proud of them.
Yeah.
And, with that comes the challenge, right, of being first in something, or not even so much being first, but taking that leadership piece and trying different things. It's easy to have people take shots at you. It's easy to have folks that are uncomfortable try to show all the things that you can or can't do. But I couldn't be more proud of where we are.
Yeah.
I think we're really doing some things for kids, and you see what happens when you create an environment that is safe for kids to engage in. I think we've talked about that before. When you can create an environment where every young person has to engage, not so much in what an adult wants them to do, but engage in their own learning.
Yeah.
That's powerful. So that's where we are. It's been a really good. We don't take enough time, I think, to give ourselves a little grace and understand the complexity and the depth of stuff that we're doing. But we're doing better for kids. That's a good thing.
Yeah, and some of that understanding comes from your spring testing results for personal learning.
That's kind of what I referred to. Is we're required to do those assessments and in our first real full year data.
Okay.
Around, we had full year data in math in 8th grade last year. We've gotten now across the board, we've gotten full year data in kindergarten, full year data, other elementary grades. Our 4th grade team, phenomenal in terms of what they've been able to do. But that's not limited to them. We're seeing the same things happening across the board. again, you start to change an environment. You make it so folks not only have to, but they want to engage.
Yeah.
Then you start seeing what the capacity of a young person really looks like. And we know that we're going to have to look at different things.
Yeah.
You know, the world continues to change. Had a series of meetings this week with our partnership with UW Stout and Western Technical College, and what that looks like, and what the future of post-secondary, what the future of higher ed looks like, and how much of that is stacked credentials as opposed to the traditional degree structure. And now you get people really uncomfortable. You start talking about that, but this idea of what lifelong learning looks like.
And that all comes from that emerging tech that's it's changing the world we live in every day.
We talk a lot about this whole thing. You know, there's a lot of debate around tech right now, and so much of it is so superficial, and it's misunderstood, or it's not communicated effectively, all of those different things. If you're using technology to simply replace paper and pencil, or to be a pacifying babysitter, if you're doing it just to let people be comfortable, that's wrong. If you're leveraging technology to go deeper and dive more in depth to what's happening, and to allow that then to create those efficiencies I just talked about, so that our teachers can focus on a learning culture, can focus on what each of those young people needs, encouragement, challenge, right? It's no different than the rest of the world. People want structure. Whether they say it or not, we all want structure, and we all respond pretty well. So I think that's that part of that leadership piece, which we've kind of forgotten about in this, probably I would argue, in this country. We've forgotten what it's like to lead because we've been successful for a long time. So
and with that tech too, you know, it's one thing is how you use it. People get so afraid of AI and how you use it. I got an example from yesterday. I was looking, I can't even remember what I was doing. I was doing something that I needed some math with, and I was like, how do I do this? I could just ask my chat GPT for the answer, but I asked for the answer, and then how did you come to this answer? You know, and that's the thing we got to do. Not just get the answers, but learn how those answers are concluded, you know.
Exactly. And does that make you better in the long term? Absolutely. If we start to ask those questions, right? That's really what we're talking about. You know, in a good example, we're using the technology piece, a platform in English language arts. What it's doing is providing real-time feedback. That's really good. Our teachers want to do that. There's not literally enough time in the day to do that. It might take weeks to get feedback on writing or on reading and your understanding of reading. The tool will do it real time. And it's very, very accurate. I think that's an example of what that looks like. It doesn't mean a kid sitting on a device literally all day. It's chunks of a day. You know, and I think, like I said, if it's about popularity, if it's about the path of least resistance, then no matter what we're doing, that's wrong. And we've lived in that world for far too long, where we worry too much about what people think and how opportunistic they are, or we worry about everyone's feelings to a point where we've forgotten what it's like to lead and to get out in and really push ourselves with continuous improvement.
And some of that stuff, you know, we talk about is as you go, you graduate, it's a different world these kids are going out into. So part of that is, you know, mini certifications versus degrees. You know, before going to your tech school was, well, maybe not go to the tech. You could go there, but, you know, college is really your 4-year degree. Now it's those certifications and, you know, versus those degrees, I think, that are going to be the future.
Well, and I think it even one step in front of that, you're exactly right, Brian, but one step in front of that is what are you passionate about? And passionate about something other than just minimal survival. What can I do to make the world a better place? How can I add value and match that to what I'm passionate about? And do those two things match? Or do my passions and my enjoyment create a negative environment? Right? Those are some of the fundamental pieces, but what does that look like then in terms of post-secondary and in all of the different micro-credentialing that is out there? You know, we've talked before about the automation leadership degree program that's built with Western and with Stout. And that's one really good example, but what we're really talking about at our level is foundational skill sets that transcend every career, and not every career looking backwards. every career looking forward. So part of that is going to have to be foundational knowledge around skill sets related to technology. Because it impacts every aspect. I'm looking around your studio right now.
Yep.
There's tons of different things in here that 10 years ago weren't here.
Yep.
Right? You buy a car, you go anywhere, you're in a mall. That whole scenario. We're seeing more and more restaurants delivering with robots, room service in hotels, those types of different things. And we can debate the economic impact of all of that stuff, but again, everything's going to perpetually change. What does post-secondary look like? It's going to be credentialing.
Yeah.
It's going to be micro-credentials that are in smaller increments than the degree structure.
Yep.
They may lead to degrees, but that degree process may well be extended. You might get a bachelor's degree when you're 35 now,
Yep.
but you've been working the whole time. It might be advantageous for someone to have a couple years post-high school to grow up. I might argue that if we do a better job and if we can leverage all of the things that we're doing to see the results that we're starting to see, we will have a better, more mature, better, well-developed, overall functioning person when we're done.
Yep.
That's the goal. It's not the Terminator version, and I think there's still a fair amount of fear. But if we continue to look at things superficially and get led around by every soundbite that someone is profiting from,
Yep.
that's the biggest challenge, I think, in the adult world, is we just have to think differently. We have to think deeper and start asking some real questions.
Yeah. And, embrace that technology, too, because like it or not, it is here.
It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And we can pretend it doesn't exist. And we have folks that have done that with chunks of history, right? Tell me once where that's been successful. We're resisting where the world is heading. And I'm not talking about every little microcosm of what someone can do.
Yeah.
But the big things that have happened in terms of transitions, we've never seen anything like this.
Oh, no kidding.
Especially when we talk about the combination of depth and pace. We've never seen a time like this. Understanding that, embracing that, being willing to start asking some real questions, but we cannot prevent this. All we can do is do things well inside it.
Yep, and try to be leaders in it, too.
Exactly, and like I said, that comes with challenge. We've had our own sets of challenges. We certainly, you start drawing some attention, right? Some of which is positive, some of which is negative. But to our credit of our folks, both our communities, and the folks that are doing the work, we don't see that here. We really don't. I think our folks understand how well or how hard we're working to try to do better for kids.
Yep.
And that requires things.
Yep. And it's a tough job that you guys do, because in so many of those positions, people don't really understand what is going on. So like you said, those sound bites and things get out into the world, so people have their own idea of this is how it works when it's not even in the realm of reality.
Exactly. It has nothing to do with reality. Or, again, someone's profiting from it, whether that's with political contributions or whether that's trying to suck ad dollars out or media dollars out, or whatever that case may be. It's still someone trying to profit from manipulation of you. And I think that, we're starting to really see that. You got a lot of conversations now taking place. Well, should we ban this? Should we ban that? How about we do it correctly?
Yeah.
Put all of our energy in focusing on what that really is and understanding that's going to make us uncomfortable. I'm pretty sure the folks that were living post-World War II were uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
During it, leading up to it, certainly afterwards. Most of us didn't live that. We don't know what that felt like. We know how challenging the pandemic was for us and what it did. And that was really, when looking back in retrospect, was not of the same level as what we were talking about in pre and post-World War II. So I think, again, perspective is hard to really gather at times. But, the other thing that I think folks have really done a really good job around here of understanding is you can create paralysis by analysis and trying to be perfect, right? We've never pretended to be. We're going to own the mistakes we make. And mistakes are not those intentional things that you've done just to be malicious, right? If things don't go well, we're stopping. We just say, this is not working. We're going to do this differently. And I think our folks have not only tolerated that, they've learned to appreciate it. I think that the fact that we're trying to do some things, and again, now we're getting the data that back and say this is exactly what we needed to be doing, and this is exactly where we're going, not to mention the steam that it picks up. the amount of interaction and interest now being created in the environment of true structural change, focusing on a learning culture, building the human capacity, then turning them loose under a continuous improvement model. That's a big deal.
Yep, because we have an unknown world for our future, and without taking that step into that unknown world, you're never going to make any difference in it. So,
and we've forgotten, too, that our job as a fundamental part of a society is to add value to that society. That is our job.
Yep.
How do we add value? We've gotten too many folks that are figuring out how they can take from it without adding any real value. Then they talk themselves into, or as we talked about, you manipulate things to look like you're adding value.
Yeah. When
you're really not. You're sucking value out. And I think that's, again, you talk about some fundamental messaging for kids. We really are being direct with that. You need to add value. You need to continuously improve yourself.
Yep.
You need to continually improve your environment, everything around you. If you do that, isn't it a better life?
Oh, yeah.
For all of us? Those types of things. So, that's why even things like the politics that we're facing, the elephant in the room, the failed budget bill that was trying to do some things for schools, for people, for community, how much of that is the standard soundbite?
Yeah.
Right? What's the path of least resistance I can do to get everybody jacked up, support me, when it really has no concept in reality of what our people are facing?
Yeah, it's more for re-election a lot of times.
Absolutely. Certainly what we're hearing.
Yeah.
Right? This thing was a bipartisan attempt to do something now.
Yep.
Okay? And what we're hearing is this was still about the gubernatorial election, who's in charge come November into January. And then, leveraging that by saying, well, the forecasts out to 2029 show this isn't sustainable. Well, what other part of life can be prognosed or projected or predicted out to 2029? Nothing.
Yeah.
I think that's the frustrating part, and we just need to hold people accountable. Everybody. I'm not talking about any one party. I'm not talking about anybody. I've asked for some answers, haven't gotten any yet, in terms of rationale for votes.
Yep.
That tells me that it's politics as usual.
Yep.
Unfortunately, until I hear differently, that's exactly what it is, and has nothing to do with the reality that people are facing.
Yeah, and that's the sad part is it gets too involved. Politics get too involved in things we got going on locally and through the school systems, and when it should be nonpartisan. All of the stuff should be nonpartisan. It should be just about getting the kids what they need and getting them the best future that they can hold.
And we don't ask deep enough questions.
Yeah.
We're willing to get excited. We want to be upset by something. We are looking for a reason too often, myself included, to be mad about something, right? Instead of digging deeper, asking questions. Tell me more. Help me understand your perspective. We've forgotten that is part of our society, that we can actually do that. I don't have to agree with everything you do. You don't have to agree with everything I say or do. Doesn't mean we can't get along. Doesn't mean we can't have a debate about what's best for our country or what's best for our schools or best for our state. And again, then they put the responsibility back on us. We have to go do the things and show that. But most of us are in referendum cycles. Perpetual. We talk about that all the time. I hope our folks know that as painful as that is to ask, I know how painful it is to say yes. It's more painful to ask.
Yeah.
But it is truly an investment in what we're doing. I think if nothing else, folks know that we are plowing forward. We are not waiting for anybody. We're doing a better job for our kids and giving them a realistic advantage going forward.
Yeah, because an investment in our kids is an investment in our future.
It's in all of us, right? And it's easy to say, well, I can't afford this right now, and I do understand. For some of our folks, that's the case. Okay? Generally speaking, those are not the folks saying it.
Yeah.
It's the folks that are choosing, and they want to be that scenario. They want to feel like they're being slighted or that type of a thing. And we work really hard to not do that. And I do understand, and I know folks know that we do understand this is not any fun.
Yeah.
Our referendum renewal process, and I say renewal because it'll be the exact same amount of money just for 2 more years.
Yep.
Not new money, not stacking money, the exact same amount for 2 years. That'll come in November. It'll be an opportunity to really go engage with our folks. We'll do the road shows and all that kind of stuff, but a great opportunity to talk about what our folks are doing and how hard they're working for our kids, and quite frankly, how hard our kids are starting to work again. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, because the kids, they need to be pushed, they need to be challenged a bit, and push up against that stuff that's hard, because that's how the world works. I mean, we can't just soft roll them through school and expect them to go out there and be successful.
And as parents and as community members, we're fortunate here. We need to understand that there's going to be some discomfort. We have to challenge some kids, and we have to challenge some behaviors, and we have to challenge that ability to add value.
Yeah.
And that's going to put us in direct competition at times for people that just want everything to be calm, or that they just want to pacify, or under some pretense that we're doing the right things for our kids by not letting them feel any challenge or any pain or any discomfort. I've been through that with our own kids. We've really tried to walk that line of making things better and okay, but also challenging them and putting some pressure on them, and not bailing them out of everything, and direct accountability for your decisions. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. You might have just messed up. That's good.
All of us have once or twice or 20 times.
Growth comes from failure, right? Growth comes from mistakes. That's okay. So
that's great.
That's what's going on.
All right. Anything else you want to say before I let you go today?
Just that we continue to appreciate everything that folks do for us. Certainly our staff this year, our collective staff is continued to go above and beyond. And so, quite frankly, of our kids. It's a good time. It's an opportunity. It's hard work. It's tireless work at times. But it is good work, and we're doing an awful lot of good things. And I hope folks know that.
Yeah, I think they do. And big congratulations to all the kids who just graduated last weekend. So kind of bittersweet. And we're going into summer. Can't believe it.
We wish them well, exactly.
All right, thank you, Mike. We're going to go ahead and jump back into the hits here on WHTL.
WHTL.
Is your vehicle's air conditioner up to par? Did you know that without regular maintenance and